I'm from a small village, from a large family. I'm number 8, and it's a village called Shanigari. It's 23 miles outside of Cork City.
I'm from Reykjavik, Iceland. I'm youngest of 5 siblings. I have 3 children, 2 daughters and 1 son, and we have 5 grandchildren.
My brother and his wife were working here in Bulgaria. They knew that I had a huge passion for people, and they knew I'd got into counselling from teaching. And I was getting married to Gisli, who was also training as a counsellor. So he said my brother hoped to start a project counselling trafficked women. And we thought, great, we can start our marriage. We can start in a country that's foreign to both of us. Let's go. That's how we ended up in Bulgaria.
Through the years, I've been working quite a lot with traumatized people. I've been working with couples. I've been working with homosexual and lesbian. I've been working with ministers and leaders of churches, kind of whole range of people. So what has been a learning point in all this is the severeness of how many cultures see abuse and violence as a normal thing. And this has often transformed a lot of people into a very devastating state of mind.
So I came to work in the orphanage through a lady called Monica, who knew Gisli, trusted Gisli. So then I came in under that they trusted me. And the orphanage children, they have to leave at 18. So they're very vulnerable to being taken, either the girls for prostitution or theft or some sort of forced labour, and the boys, if they're not that academic, they'll go for pimping, or they'll go for something where they're being used by others. So we needed, and we have been working on trying to build a programme of building them up to make choices, building them up so that it just doesn't lead this way. It's a very kind of tough work, because it's hard to build up a person that hasn't got an awful lot of initial resources. A beautiful lady that I got to know through Gisli. She was a client of Gisli's. She came along to me one time in church and said, I hear what you're doing in the orphanage. I want you to come along and help me. She's very direct, she's very forceful. She's a great lady to be linked with. And it's a lady called Stoyanka. It was, during the autumn, it was an extremely awful event. Roma had been given, they're a particular Christian community, a very broken community, but a Christian community. There's about 10 families together in a place called Orlandetsy. They were given an eviction notice, but they'd been given quite a few eviction notices over the years, and people have threatened them to get out. But they haven't much choice, so they just stayed where they were, hoping that the eviction notice wouldn't come about. They came with the bulldozer, and Stoyanka stood in front and said, I have this, you can't bring down the camp. And then they brought down the camp. So it was actually quite hard to watch, because the children were watching, women with small babies were watching. I just thought, this is awful. We've been trying to build up the trust of these people to believe in systems, and you've just knocked it all. And you're barbaric in the way you're doing it. So because Stoyanka is very linked with Zoe Church, the pastor got right in there. He said, what do we need to get, Stoyanka? Stoyanka said, get water, because they've cut off the water, they've cut off the electricity, get tents. There was a great community feel. We were all helping to try to put up these tents in the middle of this chaos. They've brought in these kind of containers. They're starting to live in there. They've put up their walls again, and they're waiting for the next eviction to finally demolish the whole place again in March. So the pastor is linked with A21, and they've already got money to try to buy land And now the dream is even bigger. We'll get the land, we'll set up these houses inside in this piece of land, we'll get the Roma to pay tax, and then we'll educate the kids to take their part in Bulgarian society. So it's an even bigger dream now to actually change some of their lifestyle, because that's why the Roma are separate. They don't fit in. So we want to try to get them to some way fit in, but maintain some sort of identity.
After my father's death and getting a little inheritance, we actually decided we wanted to invest, because we didn't have enough to invest in a house in Iceland or apartment in Ireland or Iceland. So we actually decided we want to invest in our mission. So we found this house, to make a long story short, we found this house here in southeast Bulgaria. The location is perfect, even though a lot of other people would think no, because this is the biggest Roma area in Bulgaria, and this is also the biggest trafficking area in Bulgaria. We want to use this house to train counselors. We want to use this house to teach children, bring them together, love them first and foremost. We want to be able to teach mothers skills. We want to teach people even practical skills, how they can make money. So, and that's where we hopefully are going to show you the barn, which actually people can come behind us and help us to build that up as a kind of teaching area. So it is a huge vision, but we believe when God is in it, it's doable. People who are trafficked are between 8,000 and 10,000 every single year. So, and this is actually the area which we are now in. This is where most trafficked girls come from. And sadly, there's not only sexual trafficking, there are labor trafficking. There are also, and sad part of this, and that's organ trafficking, where people and even organs taking out of people against their will, and even families selling part of their family members' organs. So this is also the darkness and the fight which we have, because Bulgaria is the biggest traffic country in Europe. I think we should never actually underestimate, for example, our security. Spiritual-wise, we need prayers. There's no question about it. And we feel through these years, especially after we got to know Glen Abbey and having our home group behind us, building up relationship with other people, and now being able to send prayer requests for 150 people, something like that, when we really need, and we need to call out to the Lord. So we need prayer, we need protection, and protected, and we know, because we trust in the Lord. And knowing that as long as you're doing His will, He is with you on that walk.
Another prayer request is the language and time. I think I just got 3 new clients last week. Even walking into church on Sunday was another person. We're trying to cut back on the one-to-one counseling, and every time we try to cut back, it doesn't work. So we need a lot of wisdom as to how to, because we know we want to train, because we want to train the Bulgarians in Christian counseling, and we can't always keep going. So wisdom, where are we supposed to spend the time? And you need time in language. So pray that our brains would work and we would get the language. And if we can get more support, more people who invest in us financially, then we can start training. When you see the barn, we want to bring in equipment, because when I've gone to the orphanage or the Roma camp, I've tried to cook with them, but it's been great in a lot of ways to see what they've got. But for my vision, I want them to individually have a knife in their hands, individually to be chopping, individually to go over to the cooker, just to build up normal little skills to see you do it. It's not a demonstration. You're not watching. Those are very big practical prayer requests for us. That pray that we would be wise with our time and our brains would work.
Amen to that.